there are other things that have happened in this economy with this slowdown. We could see a recession.
Trump had another one of his classic morning tirades, as Republicans are no longer able to hide the fact that he has us barreling towards a recession. Turns out it's bad for the economy when Trump flips and flops on tariffs more than he did on Stormy Daniels, and the folks who voted for him because he'll fix the economy are starting to lose their patience. I'll show you how MAGA is freaking out and how Fox News is completely eating crow on this. Turns out the man behind Trump's stakes isn't exactly the world's greatest businessman.
Great stakes. I've just raised the stakes.
If you're enjoying the video, make sure to like the video and double check that you're subscribed. Despite reversals and delays in some tariffs, it seems the trade war has officially kicked off, as at least some of Trump's taxes are still being applied to Canada, while the rest on Mexico are delayed till April 2nd. Despite the tariffs' effective date, the economy is clearly reacting, with the stock market completely losing all of its post-election gains. So the North American trade war has officially begun. There's no going back, and Trump has positioned himself into a corner where now he has to defend these tariffs as a good idea. And I think he's finding it was a lot easier when nobody knew what the hell a tariff was. He tweeted this morning that the United Workers of America stated that tariffs are necessary. Well, I'll tell you right now, other than the voters who happen to work in the auto industry, most of MAGA did not want to hear that. And they're actually doubling down on the idea that these policies are going to be good for the economy overall. Here's the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, finally admitting that things are backsliding, but that's actually a good thing.
But the Biden administration created this bad equilibrium where the top 10%, people in this room, probably most of the people watching this show, top 10% of Americans are 40 or 50% of consumption. And that is an unstable equilibrium. The bottom 50% of working Americans have gotten killed. We are trying to address that. We're trying to get rates down. And, could we be seeing that this economy that we inherited starting to roll a bit? Sure. And look, there's going to be a natural adjustment as we move away from public spending to private spending. The market and the economy have just become hooked. We've become addicted to this government spending, and there's going to be a detox period. There's going to be a detox period.
I think that temporary pain that you've acknowledged, that the president has acknowledged, I think the question becomes, is temporary pain the new transitory inflation? How do you know that we get to the other side of this, and how long do you think it actually takes?
Well, look, there's an adjustment. We'll see whether there's pain. What we are trying to do, I talked about it at the Economic Club of New York yesterday, we are trying to transition from public to private.
A detox period? I know Pete Hegseth just ran for the liquor cabinet screaming, "No!" To me, what's most concerning about his statements isn't that we're headed towards a recession, because while that's bad, it's relatively normal. What scares me was his answer to what's on the other side of this, which is a move from public to private. And that's because privatization is one of the early moves in fascism. Italy's first fascist government applied a large-scale privatization policy between 1922 and 1925. The Fascist Party in Germany also rapidly privatized its industries. But even MAGA's favorite Muppet, Maria Bartiromo, can't deny that Trump going back and forth on these tariffs is causing the market to crash and burn like it was made by Tesla. In a rare moment of a reporter on Fox actually doing their job, she pushes back on Trump when he offers no clarity on whether or not these tariffs are going to hurt the economy.
You did use USMCA. You put this together.
Yeah.
And yet then you come back and you change it up with these tariffs. And you said to me at that time, I did it because I can. I put an amendment in there, and I said in 6 years I can change it. But I think CEOs want to see predictability. They say, look, I have to speak with shareholders. I've got to make plans for CapEx spending. I can't if it's 20% one day and then it's off for a month and it's 25%.
Yeah.
So can you give us a sense of whether or not we are going to get clarity for the business community?
Well, I think so. But, the tariffs could go up as time goes by, and they may go up. And, I don't know if it's predictability. I think
so that's not clarity.
No, I think that they say that. It sounds good to say. But for years, the globalists, the big globalists, have been ripping off the United States. They've been taking money away from the United States. And all we're doing is getting some of it back
The globalists are coming. The globalists are coming. The globalists aren't crashing the economy, Donnie, you are. Donald seems to be allergic to taking responsibility for his actions. Maybe that's why his face is that color. He's actually covered in some sort of orange rash. Now, don't get me wrong, Maria's still going to try to glaze up Trump like his name is Krispy Kreme, but she's having a hell of a time doing it. Gone is the idea that we're not headed towards a recession, so now she's trying to pin it on Biden, who somehow managed to have a growing economy the entire time he was in office and perfectly timed it to crash 2 months into Trump's term.
That's, by the way, that's why I said earlier it would be Biden's recession. And I know the haters out there will slam me later. The other day I said something and they went nuts on me on Twitter, on X. I said, well, how come I don't see any Dodge Rams or Dodge pickup trucks in Europe? And they went nuts on it. But it's true. I see all the Mercedes and the Audis and the whole 9 yards here in America, but I don't see any of the American-made cars there. That's it. That's the point I was making, Steve.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. I mean,
I love that there's a non-zero chance that Maria saw my video calling her a fucking dumbass for saying that car stuff, and I got to join in on making her day just a little bit worse. But unfortunately for Fox News and Maria, it doesn't look like the numbers are going to turn in Trump's favor. And here's the clip where Maria slips in that yes, we might have a recession.
You know, I mean, Joel, Lindsay Group came out with a report a couple of weeks ago that I've mentioned a few times. Can Doge induce a recession? No, it can't, okay? You're not going to get a recession just from Doge. Now, there are other things that have happened in this economy with this slowdown. We could see a recession, but it's not going to happen just because they're cutting waste and abuse out of this government, Joel.
Yeah, no, you're exactly correct. In fact, of the last 5 years, we had about 3.1 million jobs, and about more than half were from government and from social services. And so those need to go.
No, Doge itself can't cause a recession, but yeah, all the other things that Trump does can. Like, what the hell are we talking about here, Maria? And MAGA is tired of waiting. Check out this report from The Atlantic, the Trump voters who are losing patience. You can only do so much talking before people start expecting you to walk. Then Trump walks a bit like a baby with a full diaper. Voters in this group are noticing that the job they elected him to do, fix the economy, is not getting done. I would like to see him do a little bit more for the economy because that was one of the platforms he did run on. He was going to help the economy, said Holly, a 2020 and 2024 Trump voter from Maine. You know, we haven't really seen that. My grocery prices are still the same, if not higher than they were. Here's Charlie, a Biden to Trump voter from Georgia. I wanted a lot of change as far as inflation and price of everything. So I haven't seen any real changes there. As a matter of fact, I think for me, things are worse as far as the inflation. I just worry about the tariffs making everything cost more. Looks like we might have to take some more pain before it gets better as far as inflation. Bobby, a two-time Trump voter from Texas, said. Well, Bobby, you aren't the only one concerned about the tariffs, because for a fourth day in a row, the market is tanking. Over the last 5 days, we're down a whopping 3.5%. It turns out a man with this many failed businesses isn't as good for the economy as MAGA would like you to believe. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.